This video is your ultimate sniper guide when it comes to Vanguard sniper rifles inside Warzone, especially after the most recent update for Season 2. A lot of changes took place with these guns, and we've calculated all the stats for these guns to let you know what are the best attachments. Also, it did take us 3 full days to calculate stats for this video, so make sure you subscribe as we're trying to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click the link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel, but let's get straight into this. Now, when it comes to sniper rifles inside Warzone, we're focusing on the 3 most important stats. The first is ADS time. Mainly for your aggressive snipers, you want to focus on building the weapon to have a decent ADS time so you can actually compete with like assault rifles or even LMGs at that kind of mid to long range. Then we also wanted to focus on bullet velocity, which is probably the single most important stat when it comes to sniper rifles, and then also damage profiles as well. So first we're going to start off with the Type 99. Let's get into the stats. Now, I will have the spreadsheet linked in the description, and it's got all 3 of the sniper rifles on here, but we're going to focus first on the Type 99 and we'll go through each weapon individually. So what we have here is the muzzles, and obviously we're looking at the silencers. We want to check for bullet velocity, and we also want to check for ADS time. We also have the barrels, which we checked for bullet velocity, ADS time, and damage, because some do alter damage. Optics, we tested a couple of different optics just to see if they do give you a faster ADS time. We tested stocks, magazines, rear grips, and perks. Now, we did miss out things like lengthened and things like that, because you're most likely just going to be using lengthened anyway, because it is the best perk in that slot. So we did miss out a couple, but the ones that have multiple choices, that is where we wanted to focus our attention to. When it comes to the Mercury silencer and the MX silencer for this gun, it does reduce your bullet velocity by about 100 milliseconds roughly. So that's something you do want to keep in mind. The bullet velocity is reduced on the Type 99 when you equip a suppressor. Now, you're going to probably want to equip a suppressor anyway, because you want to be suppressed with a sniper. Now, when we looked at ADS times with the sniper rifles, you do get the same ADS time as your base ADS with the MX silencer, but you do get a little bit quicker ADS with the Mercury silencer. So most likely when it comes to the Type 99, you're going to actually want to go for the Mercury silencer here in this case, because you're going to get a better ADS time, but you still get a slight con to your bullet velocity. Now, when it comes to the barrels themselves, the barrel that gives you the best bullet velocity is the Shirashi barrel. I don't really know how you say that properly, but that is the one that gives you the best possible bullet velocity. But on top of that, it actually gives you the best damage as well when it comes to chest shot damage. So as you can see here, the base chest shot damage is 106. It actually boosts it up to 163. Obviously, you do get a slightly slower ADS time now, so you can make up for this, obviously, with the Mercury silencer or with certain other attachments. But in my personal opinion, I would still go for the higher damage, higher bullet velocity barrel. I do think it is the better option overall, so that is the one that I would go with. Now, when it comes to optics, this is kind of going to come down to personal preference on every single one of these snipers. Now, I tested the 4 to 8x zoom one, and that gives you a slightly faster ADS than your base ADS. The 3.5x rifle scope also gives you a faster ADS. Basically, the lower you go in zoom, the faster your ADS is going to be, and that's just kind of how it works in general. And then you've got the 3 to 6 ADS one as well. Now, you can leave it as the base optic if you really prefer. My personal favorite though is the 4 to 8x or the 3 to 6x, because you do get that little bit extra zoom if you need it, but you also get the fast ADS if you need it as well. So I'm going to stick with the 4 to 8x and highlight this one, because I'd like to take a little bit of a quicker ADS, and then you also still have that 8x zoom available if you need it. Then when it comes to stocks, and the one that gives you the fastest possible ADS time is going to be the Sakura custom stock. We mainly focused on just ADS times for these stocks, and it's not by much, but it is enough to kind of distinguish the difference, especially when you're equipping that barrel that's going to slow the ADS down a little bit as well. When it comes to the magazine attachments, when it comes to the faster firing mags, which is the 5.6mm mags, you get a damage profile of 76, and that is reduced by quite a bit in my opinion. I wouldn't really go for this, especially considering you don't actually get a faster fire rate, so it's 47 rounds per minute instead of 50, so it's actually slower, and on top of that, it's going to con your bullet velocity an absolute ton, so you just don't want that. The Clouser mags are actually a solid option. You do get better bullet velocity, which is definitely recommended, and you do also get a higher damage profile, but not quite as high as if you use that Sariashi barrel. Now, when you go for the grips, the fabric grip is the best. The leather grip doesn't actually help with the ADS time for some reason on the Type 99, so the fabric grip's the one you want to go for. And then when it comes to to the perks, we've got Vital, and that was the only one we really needed to test here because the only one that actually alters damage. When we're using it with the base mags, you get the same damage profile as the Seriashi barrel by itself. If you're using it with the faster fire rate mags, you're going to get low damage, so you don't want to choose that anyway. And then if you use the Vital perk with the Seriashi barrel together, you get over 200 damage as well. So again, if you stack in a lot of these damage attachments together, they do kind of go together depending on how you stack them. But the damage mags and the Vital perk doesn't work together for some reason. I don't know why. Comes down to personal preference here. If I was being perfectly honest, I would take the barrel and I would also take the magazine as well. And the reason for that is because you're going to get even better bullet velocity than taking Vital. So let's make the build now. So it's Mercury Silencer, like I said, because you get the faster ADS time. Seriashi barrel because it actually gives you the better damage profile. For optics, I like the 4 to 8x, but you could choose whatever one we did testing on, or you could choose whatever one you like. Just keep in mind that your ADS values will change with the optic that you do choose. When it comes to stock, the Sakura custom stock is the best when it comes to ADS times. You also get the aim walking movement speed as well, which is quite handy too. When it comes to perks, you could choose whatever you want. I'd probably recommend Focus in this case, but just make sure you don't choose Vital. Like I said, perk 2, I would usually go for fully loaded, but again, you could choose whatever you want here. You could even go for deep breath as well if you like to hold your breath longer. When it comes to the rear grip, the fabric grip in this case is going to give you the faster ADS time. Magazine, you want to use the Clouser mags to get that higher damage profile, and it also helps with bullet velocity as well, which is really handy. Ammunition, lengthened is pretty much for every sniper rifle. We didn't really do testing on this because you have to use it on every sniper anyway. And then when it comes to underbarrel grips, you can choose really whatever you want here. I would really recommend using something that's not going to con your aim down sight time. So you've got quite a few options, but none are really all that important. I'd probably just go for the heavy foregrip because it helps and it doesn't give you any cons. Next, we're moving on into the 3-line rifle, so let's get on into the stats. Moving on into the stats for the 3-line rifle now, we've got the 3-line rifle stats here. When it comes to the silencers, once again, both silencers actually con your ADS time. So they're actually going to make your ADS slower, and also on top of that, they con your bullet velocity as well. So that's just something you need to keep in mind. Now, if you want a slightly faster ADS, the Mercury Silencer will be the better option. If you want better bullet velocity, the MX Silencer will be the better option. Now, I personally would like to keep as much bullet velocity as possible, so the MX Silencer is what I would personally choose. There's probably an argument for both, let's be perfectly honest. Now, when it comes to the barrels here, we've got the Empress barrel, we've got the Cole barrel, which is the 820mm, the Cole 700mm, and these are all the barrels that actually alter damage in some kind of way. The 820mm is the best option. It also has the slower ADS time out of the bunch, so that's something you want to keep in mind. The Empress gives you a fast ADS time, and it still gives you a pretty decent bullet velocity from the base. It's still quite a decent bonus anyway, so that's something you definitely want to keep in mind when you're choosing these. Now, when it comes to the damage profiles overall, the 820mm, when it comes to chest shot damage, will give you 156 damage to the chest. Now, the Cole 700mm barrel actually does give you a boost to your neck shot damage. Now, this actually could give you a one-shot kill to the neck. It's kind of hard for us to test this, like I said, in-game, because we're testing it in the pre-game lobby, and if anything is over 200 damage, you're going to get a one-shot kill anyway. But considering it is neck shot damage and not chest shot damage, I do think you can actually get a one-hit kill to the neck with the 3-line rifle. Now, you do get over 200 damage if you get a neck shot with the base weapon as well. But like I said, this is probably going to come down to personal preference, whether you'd rather have more chest shot damage, but obviously that's still going to take you a 2-shot kill, or if you'd either extend that kind of one-hit headshot potential down to the neck and maybe consistently get more of a one-shot kill. So again, that is going to really come down to personal preference here when it comes to which barrel you should be using. In my personal opinion, I would rather get that more than likely one-shot potential to the neck and the head, so I would go for the Cole 700mm. When it comes to the optics, we've got similar cases before. You can get a fast ADS with a 3.5x, but personally I would go for the 4.8x. Once again, because you do get that option there, and it's still exactly the same ADS as the base optic, but I just kind of like the look of this one as well, which would help me out a bunch. But you can go for the base optic if you really wanted to as well here. When it comes to the stocks that help with ADS, the marksman stock is going to give you the best possible ADS, so that is the one we want to go for. The other one does actually give you a slower ADS, so you don't really want to go for that, even though in-game it states a better ADS. When it comes to magazines here, again, we don't really want to go for the one that gives you less damage, and even if you stack it with that 820mm barrel, it still gives you low damage, so you don't want to go for that at all. If you stack the damage mags with the damage barrel in this case, it doesn't change the damage profile. So I think it's kind of weird how some stack together but some don't, and it depends on the sniper rifle. It's kind of odd to me. However, you do get better bullet velocity once again with the damage mag, so that's something you can keep in mind. Again, fire rate is not all that important, to be perfectly honest with you. So now the only thing we didn't test here is if you stack the damage mags with the neck shot damage barrel, if that actually stacks together, so you can get like plus 200 neck damage and you get 111 chest damage, which actually be really good. But we didn't actually do that testing, unfortunately. It's just something I never actually thought to do. Even if it wasn't the case that the damage actually combines together, you still get better bullet velocity. So I would always go for this magazine right here anyway, because you're going to boost the bullet velocity of the gun, especially considering we're not taking the 753 barrel that gives you the better bullet velocity there. When it comes to the rear grips, both do help your ADS slightly, but each one is going to help just as much when it comes to ADS in this case, so you can choose whatever one you want. Now let's build this 3-line rifle setup. So you actually want to use the MX silencer because this allows you to keep as much bullet velocity as possible. If you want a slightly faster ADS, you can go for the Mercury, but that's going to be personal preference, like I said. When it comes to the barrel, I like the Kovalevska 700mm, which gives you the extra neck damage, like I said before. So the 3 barrels we actually tested were basically the top 3 here, which actually help with bullet velocity and damage. So 700mm in this case. When it comes to optic, I like the 4 to 8x, like I said before, but you could choose whatever one we've tested or any other. The Empress Marksman is the best at ADS time, so this is the one that you want to be using. When it comes to perks here, it doesn't really matter whatever perk you choose. You might want to go for something like Shrouded in this case, or even Awareness for a better sprint to fire speed, but it's really just going to come down to personal preference here. I would just go with Shrouded. Perk 2, I would go Fully Loaded or Deep Breath once again. When it comes to rear grips, I would just go for the leather grip. It gives you aiming stability as well. When it comes to magazines here, you actually want to go for the damage mags, and that is so that you get the better bullet velocity, like I said before. Ammunition lengthened, obviously. And in the underbarrel, again, doesn't really matter all too much. You can actually go for the skeletal in this case because it does give you a faster ADS time, so that is what I would actually go for. So last but not least, the last sniper we have is the KAR98 from Vanguard. So let's get on into the stats for this one. So getting on into the stats for the KAR98 from Vanguard, again, we're going to go through all the attachments here. The base stats are in pink on the side right here as well. So when it comes to the muzzle, again, the bullet velocity is actually the same. You do get a boost to bullet velocity this time with the KAR98. I don't know why you get a con with the previous 2 snipers, but with the KAR98, you actually get a boost to your bullet velocity. On top of that, the ADS doesn't really change too much from what you get, so the best one to go for here is going to be the Scout Silencer. When it comes to barrels on the KAR98, there wasn't a lot of barrels that actually altered damage too much. The only one that did do that is the VDD REO2K barrel, whatever it's called. It's a big ass long name for it. But it does actually increase your upper extremities damage, and it basically matches the chest shot damage at 101. Now, if you do look at the base upper extremities damage, we did calculate here, is 92. So you do get a little bit extra damage on the upper extremities. But again, it's not a huge difference maker. In my opinion, the one that gives you the better bullet velocity is the one that you probably should go for, which is the VDD 660mm barrel, which would be the first one. But again, like I said, it might come down to personal preference if you want that little bit extra damage on the gun itself. If you do want to play more aggressively with a sniper, probably the REO2K barrel will be the better option here. So if you do want to go a bit more aggressive, this will be the best way to go because you don't really con your ADS too much. Again, if you are looking to get a faster ADS time than your base ADS, I would probably go with the 3 to 6x in this case, and that is just because you do get a faster ADS time with this one. I would usually go for the 4 to 8x, but like I said, if you do get slightly faster ADS with this one, you might as well take the bonus. Short stock is the only one that helps with ADS time, which actually does help with ADS in this case, so you do want to definitely go for that. When it comes to the magazines, once again, you don't really want to use the mag that's going to con your damage, and pretty much any other mag that you get for the KAR98 is actually going to reduce the damage of the weapon, and considering it doesn't do as much damage as the other two snipers to begin with, you don't really want to be using these, and plus they don't really increase the fire rate all that much. So we did test the Sakura mags, but I haven't actually unlocked the 5.6mm mags, and honestly I can't be arsed unlocking it anyway, and that's why I've put CBA here. When it comes to the rear grips, again, it doesn't really matter which one you choose for the KAR98K. So let's go ahead and build the KAR98K now. So again, you want to use the Scout Silencer. Like I said, this is actually going to give you the faster ADS time. When it comes to the barrel, we're actually using the 600mm one, which is the one that you actually unlock initially. So this is the one that we're using. When it comes to the optic here, you actually want to use the 3 to 6x optic, so that is the one that you want to use. When it comes to the stock, the short stock is the one you want to go for because it's going to give you the faster ADS time. When it comes to perk, you could pretty much choose whatever you want here. I'll just pick Shrouded for the sake of picking it, or Quickscope might be quite useful as well. Again, you could choose Deep Breath or Fully Loaded in that case as well. Rear grips didn't really matter too much, so Leather Grip would be probably the best option here. When it comes to magazines, you want to skip over the mags absolutely entirely. You don't want to pick any mags. Maybe you could choose the one that gives you the faster reload times. So that'll probably be a good option because it doesn't actually alter the damage or the fire rate or anything like that. Ammunition type, you want to go for lengthened because it gives you the better bullet velocity. Underbarrel, you could choose whatever you want here. Once again, you could choose this one, which helps with recoil, recovery, and aiming stability, and that is the one I'd probably go for in this case. Now, what I will also have on screen just now is the stacked ADS and bullet velocity values for each one of the builds that I actually showed in this video. But the main reason for this video is to actually give you an understanding of what each attachment actually does, and if it actually does help with what it says it helps with when it comes to the actual breakdowns of the attachments. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, don't forget to subscribe to the channel as we try to reach our goal of 50k subscribers. Click that link in the description down below and subscribe to our second channel, and thank you very much for watching.